Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Conversation with Shenila. I'm your host, Shenila, and as always, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Whether you are joining us from Asia, Africa, Europe, North America, or anywhere else in the world, thank you for choosing to spend your time with us today. One of the things I love most about these conversations is that they are not about theories alone, they are about the people behind the projects, the experiences, the lessons, the decisions, and the sometimes even the struggle that shape successful professionals. Today's topic is one that I believe resonates with almost every project management professional, regardless of where they are in their career time span. Beyond certification, turning knowledge into project success. As someone who trains PMP aspirants, I have the privilege of seeing professionals achieve an important milestone in their careers. I know firsthand the dedication it takes to earn a professional certification. It represents months of learning, discipline, and perseverance. And when that congratulatory email comes, it's a wonderful feeling. But something interesting happens after that. The very next day, the projects are still waiting. The stakeholders are still asking difficult questions. Deadlines haven't changed. Teams still have different opinions. And suddenly we realize something very important. Certifications may prepare us with knowledge, but real project challenges us to apply that knowledge in situations that are rarely straightforward. That doesn't make certifications less valuable, but it is very important to understand how to transform that knowledge into the practical implication. So today's conversation is about that journey. How do we move forward from knowing to doing, from understanding concepts to delivering real value, from earning a certification to building a successful and meaningful career? And I couldn't think of a better person to explore these questions with. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome today's guest, David Khaw. He is an experienced, and I truly apologize if I mispronounce your name, David.
No problem. It's
Um,
okay.
it is an experience. He is an experienced professional, and he has worked on projects and technology leader. Currently serving as infrastructure and technical integration manager at Microsoft. Throughout his career, David has led complete technology initiatives, complex ones, worked with diverse teams, and experienced firsthand what it truly takes to deliver successful projects in today's rapidly changing environment. So, David, welcome to Conversation with Shenila. It is wonderful to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Shanila.
David, thank you once again for joining us. I have genuinely been looking forward to this conversation because I believe it addresses something very important many professionals are experiencing but don't often talk about. We spend
Mm-hmm.
a great deal of time, preparing for certifications, and rightly so, I think everybody, but very little time preparing for everything that happens after we earn them. So I would like to begin there, David. Professional certifications have I think become an important milestone for project management professionals around the world, and we both know, right? We both are the certification holders, and that represent the commitment, continuous learning, and the professional credibility. But from your perspective, why do certifications continue to matter in today's workplace?
Yeah, first of all, again, Shanila, again, thank you for having me. I feel honored for you to invite me as your guest of speaker here. I'm first of all, I would like to share my own personal experience, why I think that it's matter to me first, right? Um, when about 20 years ago, I think 23 years ago, it's 23 years ago, when I was discovered there is such a thing called project managers, and also there's a such thing called project management professional. I was very inspired, and I was very motivated to get myself to become a project management professional. That is my personal experience. Definitely, throughout the time, I work very hard and get myself to pass my exam and to get myself a credential and become a so-called certified project management professional. But one thing for sure is that the moment that I thought that I got my certification, I can start to do a lot of project. I can tell people that I can become a project manager. That is where that I start to know that I know very little about project management, and especially when people giving me an opportunity to manage a project, and when I go in to manage a project, then I start to notice that actually I don't know much. Even though I have a PMP, I have my master in project management. Actually, I know little when I move on to the next project and so on and so forth. So this is where that I think not just because we need to get ourselves a credential, but I think that we need to continue to upskill ourselves uh, along the way is because the more that we do project, the biggest responsibility we will get, the more thing that will come to us, the more thing that discover, we will do the thing that never do before. And that's where that we need to continue to have that. So it's not just to have a credential, but it's also need to continue improve and be better compared to those who have no credential at all, that I see from my peers, they are struggling. They
Yeah.
are actually struggling to try to do the basic project management
Hmm.
or managing project. They are struggling because they don't have the foundations of it. That's why I say as us we need to continue to progress, and the best to start with is that we must have a base, which is either the credential or having academy accreditation. That will be the best to start with.
That's great. And I think many people watching will relate to that, coach. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'll call you coach because I think, resemble you with the coach. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll always refer you with the coach, David. So, especially, professionals early in their careers, right? They quite, I think, relate to this because sometimes we believe that, that next certification will answer every question. But, every new project introduces questions we have never encountered before, and perhaps
Yeah.
that's one of the most, exciting part of our profession. We are constantly learning. So, David,
Yeah.
if someone has just earned their PMP certification, they are excited, they are motivated, they are ready to make an impact. What advice would you give them during those first few months? How should they think about the journey they lied ahead?
I, that is actually a very good questions, Shanila. First of all, once you get yourself a credential, either PMP, CAPM, or whatever that, or
Hmm.
Prince 2, whatever that you get, um, go and celebrate yourself. Go and enjoy yourself and celebrate because you have worked very hard to get that credential.
Yes.
I don't, Shanila, I believe you agree with me. PMP is not an easy certificate. Once you get it, go and celebrate. That is the
Pat
first thing that
yourself,
I would
I always
do.
say.
But the thing is that I always also tell people that immediately go and get yourself a PDU, right? PDU in PMI mean that it's a continuing improvements point that you need to collect in order for you to retain your credential. So same as this is that I always encourage people that don't just stop there. Once you celebrate, once you have your celebration, always go and start to discover new way of doing things. We are going into a world of VUCA. I believe a lot of people know about VUCA: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. But now there are more and more new term coming in, which is nowadays there are bunny and there are some other things, and there are a lot of things to come in, and this kind of terminology create a lot of disruptions. And when there is a disruption for us, it's always good to continue to improve, like the way of doing things, to the way that getting done, um, in the different year, different era, or even nowadays. Shamila, you basically have a wall next to you right now, and things are changing around, and it's always good that to learn a new thing about what matter most in the project nowadays, and people are start to change, and you also need to know how to develop yourself to how to work with peoples, work with different peoples, and get it so so forth. So I always tell people is that if you really want to maintain your professional, always go and to learn new way of doing things, right? There is no one way solve all the things or getting the project delivered. No, believe me, I've been through so many projects. I know it, um, and there are all different type of people. So always go and continue learning, or discover, being vulnerable, being humble, learn as much as possible. Uh,
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Okay, so coach, we have spent the first few minutes, I think, talking about the certifications, why they matter, and this
mm,
was something you were just warming up for our conversation. But now
yeah.
I would like to take this conversation one step further, because earning knowledge is one thing, applying that
Yeah.
knowledge, especially in complex projects involving people, uncertainty, competing priorities, and constant change,
Mm-hmm.
especially in complex projects where everything comes as a different, right? So and
Yep.
things are entirely different. So let's explore it, right? And think, that if someone earned their certification today, because we are generally discussing about the certifications on a very specific. So if someone earned their certification today, and for example, PMP certification today, and join your team tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what would you hope they already understand that is not written in a book or in a training material?
Okay, so people with the PMP, they definitely, one thing that I really appreciate is that they spend their hardship to go and learn the basic, the foundation. I would say the foundation of project management. They should have that basic or the foundation knowledge of what project management is all about. A lot of my team members in the past or even present, a lot of them, they when they join my team, they even they are having a PMP. Um, the problem is that they only know how to deliver a project, right? They just focus on the product. This is product that I need to deliver, and I will just go and make sure the product deliver. But project management, Shanila, you agree with me? Project management is more than just deliver the product. It's about the journey, right? It's about how do you make sure that the stakeholders are all well informed, manage their engagement, and so on and so forth. And we all need to also need to comply all the rules and regulation and so on and so forth. So project management is beyond that. So one thing that I want to get make sure that my team, when they join, even that either they are PMP or not PMP, or maybe they are just purely experienced
Hmm.
PM, um, I always want them to know how to talk to people, how to engage with people,
Yeah.
how to bond with people. The problem nowadays is that a lot of my peers, I will call them my peer, I will not call my team member, I will call them my peer, is that they just know how to deliver, but they don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to
Hmm.
bond with people. Um, and when there is a issue, they just complain. That is the biggest challenge that I have. And one thing that I love about, I'm not sure whether you have followed um, um, President Obama. I believe a few couple of years ago he had this interview we don't know what, and he gave a very strong answer. Is that someone is interview him, what is he expect when somebody in the team, is that he's looking for somebody to come and say that, sir, I just pick it up. I just make sure that it's delivered. right? And I just can do. That is also another things that I will be looking at is that your willingness to go and raise your hand and go and do and solve the problem. And that is actually a very powerful thing. So yeah, that is also one thing that I would love. Either you are PMP or not PMP or you are experienced or whatsoever, your willingness to raise your hand and ask for opportunity to do the things, that is what we are looking for. I think Shanila, you and me, both of us are volunteers, and we
Yeah.
know the benefit of being a volunteers. And then that is what I think the volunteer is all about, and that's where that the volunteer will bring you up. So yeah, I think these two main things that I was looking at: how to deal with people, and you are willing to volunteer yourself to get things done.
Exactly. I think this is such an insightful perspective because what I really appreciate is that you are not diminishing the value of certification, but you are saying that certification gives us the language and the framework, but experience teaches us how to adapt that knowledge to people, situation, and uncertainty. And perhaps that's where professional growth really begin. So,
Yeah.
David, have you ever worked with someone who had outstanding credentials and impressive technical knowledge, but still struggled to succeed within a project team? Without mentioning names, of course, but what was missing, or was it communication, collaboration, business understanding, or something entirely different?
Definitely, I believe for us, both of us, Shanila, we have been in project management for some time. I believe both of us have been encounter different type of project team members, and definitely one of the type of team members I would call them a performer where they know how to perform. They are good in performing. That is where that I always think that they are the one who really know how to get things done and deliver, right? So I believe we have this kind of people in our team. If not, actually the project is will be hard to success. But yes, you are true. I totally agree with you. Some of these people they they know how to do things, but when it comes to project management, they fail totally, right? They don't know how what strategy to do. That I have personal experience. That the good project manager don't know what strategy to use. They don't know how to correct proper scoping of projects, and then the project was actually in the haywires. I have a members that don't know how to deal with people. They are basically like act like a robot. There are people who are actually don't know how to solve problem. When there's problem come to them, they just freeze, right? I have faced this kind of people, and for me, I think for us, Shanila, you and me, is that I believe we anticipate this kind of people around us. And
Hmm.
what we will do is that we will looking at what is their advantage, what is their strength and what is their weaknesses.
Hmm.
And whatever the strength, we will leveraging on it, and whatever the weaknesses, we will try to look for substitute,
Yeah.
right? And that I think that is what normally what we are doing, as a leaders, and get the things moving. Yeah, yes, we always have these kind of people in our project.
I think in a team, we always come across at least one member like that. Yeah, and we need to work
Quite a
around
number
it.
of them. Yeah.
If I would have an honest conversation, it's a very, I can say, common experience we have. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. So, coach, if we move forward and if you imagine you are mentoring a young project professional, right? And these days we definitely come across many young, professionals,
Mm.
right, who are building up their career in project management, and they are technically brilliant, you know, and they understand project management concepts. They are hardworking. They are eager to prove themselves, because they have that energy, right? So, what capabilities would you encourage them to develop first if they want to become someone people genuinely trust on projects?
For the young people who want to become a project managers, at least the people that I know of right now, I'm not sure whether are you referring to a Gen Z or a millennium people. I think millennium already they are
Millennials
already
are already gone.
matured.
We are millennials, right?
Yeah, many of them already matured enough. I think they are
Yeah.
still able to sustain themselves. But if I'm looking at people at Gen Z,
Hmm.
people like my daughters, people that are already come out for the 10 years, they are Gen Z.
Hmm.
They are definitely eager to try to do things. I always ask them these two things that they normally need to, if they can break their barrier, is the first thing is that it's not about themselves. I know nowadays the Gen Z, when they do things, is all about themselves, and they want to do things about, all about them. I always ask them to, yes, it's always about you, but why not you try to learn about others, about your community, about your family, about your colleagues, or about right, because for me, if you want to become a good project managers, first thing that you need to do is to become a good leader. And and if you know about the definition of leader is about taking care of people surrounding you, right,
Hmm.
Shanila?
Yeah.
So that is where that I always encourage to the young people, to everybody, is that okay, I know that it's about you. I know that you always focus about yourself, but why don't you start to learn about other people first, right? Um, get to know them, get to work with them, and do that. That is the basic, or become a great leaders, a great project managers, is to get to know them, get to work with them. Um, I know that building trust is not easy. A lot of
Hmm.
people, when they come and do, it's not easy. For me, it's also not easy when I go into a new domain, new type of projects. When I go in, when my team member aware that I'm not from that field, they will not trust me. And I took 3 months to build a trust, a relationship, and all these kind of things. It takes time, right? Don't give up so early. Spend time, spend effort to build trust, then taking care of your surrounding. I think that is my advice to the young people, especially for Gen Z. Think about that. That is actually a very good, for me, it's a very good tools. In case that you're going, something go wrong, or you need help, there are people who come and help you, right? So if you can solve that kind of problem, you will have very good tools when you need it.
Wonderful. So, coach, I think there's a very wonderful advice to the young people. I would say, yeah, the Gen Z, you have said it right, because I am talking about those, who are completing their graduation, or, they are stepping into the project management profession, right? And
Yeah.
things look good, things look, the grass always looks green from outside, until
Yes.
unless you walk on it. So, yeah, I completely agree. Um, Coach, something, I have noticed, and it's my personal reflection that, while teaching project management, because I teach as well as a faculty, visiting faculty, right, to few of the universities. So while teaching project management, is that many professions initially believe that, success comes from knowing more than everyone else. But over time, I have observed that, professionals who create the greatest impact, they are not necessarily the one, who speak the most. They are often the ones who ask thoughtful questions. They listen carefully, they connect people, they create clarity, right, to their teams, to their people. So would
Yeah.
you agree that modern project leadership is becoming less about having all the answers and more about enabling the right conversations?
It's true. Let, again, let me share my own personal experience. When I got my PMP, about 3 years down the road, I took up my first training as a PMP trainer. 3 years after I got my PMP. And when I start to uh, so-called train the project management PMP to my peers, call them as my peer again. I noticed that actually I know much lesser than them, especially when I share the knowledge on the board or based on the slide and on the book. I felt that they are actually share more things to me, and I personally learn more things from them. In fact, some of my uh, understanding of a certain term in the PM book or in certain in the project management, I thought that it's like that, but when I talking to the bunch of the student or the participant, they are actually getting me to learn more new things, discover new things, right? So I personally feel that when I go and ask questions, when I go into the class or go into the project, when I start to learn from them, and actually I learn more things. First thing, right? And at the same time, I also help them two things: seek for more clarity about what they're supposed to doing, right? And also build their understanding in a more common sense to them, right? So that they can actually build the bridge between whether they understand or not, or whatever that is they supposed to apply outside there, they build the bridge. So that is how that I actually help them to get know better. At the same time, it's actually helping me. And I always told my people surrounding me is that, hey, you want to become a great project manager, you want to become a good project manager whatsoever, go and become a trainer. Because in the trainers, you will learn how to facilitate, you learn how to coach, you learn how to mentor, but at the same time, you learn how to listen. You learn how to be patient. You learn how to be vulnerable so that you learn from them. And at the same time, they also learn from you. So this is where I always felt that this is a, a good tools, good ways of uh, getting yourself being so-called upgraded to the next level. And that's how I become a leader, in not just in the project, but in also in the community, right? That's what yeah, I discovered from that. So along the way, I progress. Uh, I'm not sure whether I answer your question or not. Yeah, I think that is based on my personal experience. That's how it made me as I am right now.
I think thank you for sharing your story, because we always learn from the experiences. And see, coach, I think after spending so much time in this profession, and still we are experiencing, right, but new experiences we have, but I think now what we can give back to the community is that we can share our experiences so people can learn, and maybe the mistakes which we did they won't, because now they have
Yeah.
to learn from the experience of us, right? So that's something I feel, we can contribute or give back to the community
Actually,
through that.
I don't make sure that they learn from my mistake. I make sure they go and learn their own mistake.
Makes sense. And I hope, everyone watching takes away one important message from this discussion, because, don't stop learning once you have earned your certification. Continue asking questions, seek mentors, learn from every project, celebrate your successes, but also learn from your setbacks.
Yeah,
They have the biggest learnings. Right? So, because every experience contributes to becoming a better project professional. So,
yeah,
Coach, we have talked about how knowledge becomes practical experience, right? I would now like to shift our conversation towards something I think many professionals quietly struggle with, but
Mhm.
rarely discussed openly. So modern project careers, come with tremendous expectations. We are expected to deliver faster, learn continuously, adapt to change, lead without authority, and somehow remain confident through it all. So let's talk about the reality behind those expectations. So do you
Mhm.
think the expectation placed on project professionals today have changed compared to when you first started your career?
I think when we started as a project managers, we are always also always call ourselves as like a project supervisor or coordinator, right? We are basically just report to our boss on anything. So that is how I started my project management career. And definitely along the way, the more tasks given to me, and I will be given opportunity to make a decisions, to steer how the project going, and so on and so forth. As long that I need to deliver the project, that again, that is based on my personal experience. I do look at people surrounding me, especially nowadays. A lot of them, they are also giving this opportunity. They are being promoted from a technical people to become a project managers, so-called the accidental PM, right? That is where they are being given things. So when the more that you are doing so-called the promotion, you will be given a more responsibility. You will be given more things. The only things I personally felt is that we are not being real recognized as a profession. We are just giving us as a title and a roles and responsibility, not much of really a professional. In fact, past a couple of months, I just did a quick research, together with my ChatGPT and my Copilot and Gemini. We find out that the not really any single government is recognized us as a profession, but the only thing that we are be given more and more responsibilities, and this kind of responsibility is actually lead us to a uh, greatest place, right? It's up to individuals whether you see that as an opportunity or you are seeing it as a constraint or anything. Is basically up to you individually. But for me, I always looking at things, even though that is sound so tough, so difficult. I always personally looking at something that is an opportunity, something that is a strength, or something that is actually lead me to a better place. I always looking at that portions. So yes, all these things come with stress, come up with a lot of challenges, politics, and so on and so forth. But for me, it's a platform to learn, to grow, and to become a better person. I'm not sure that is what how the people looking at, but that is what I think. And in fact, I do see some of the people that I know of. They become themselves, become a leader of a company. They become a
Hmm.
CEO. I do see some of project managers become entrepreneurs. You
Hmm.
know, because they have these opportunities to experience the toughness,
Hmm.
so that they become a greater people. So yeah, so it's up to individuals. How do you see it, and what do you take it from there?
I think one of the conversations I often have with the PMP experience is around expectations,
Mm.
especially after the certification. Many believe that once they become certified, they should immediately have all the answers. But projects don't work that way, and you
No.
understand that, right? Every new stakeholder, every organization, every industry, every project teaches us something new.
Yeah.
And perhaps one of the greatest strengths we can develop is not knowing everything, but remaining curious enough to keep learning. So,
Yeah.
in your experience, right, have you worked with professionals from different backgrounds? And I'm sure you have uh, experienced different professionals having different backgrounds or cultures and different level of experiences. When you look at your, early career professionals, right, today, so what do you think? What pressure concerned you the most when you were starting your career? Is that the pressure? Is it the same pressure to perform, or the pressure to progress quickly, or the pressure created by social media and constant comparison, or something else entirely?
I think when I'm young, when I'm young in in the early 20s, and I'm still in the early 20s. I think I think for both of us, Chanila, if you, I'm not sure whether you agree or not, when we come out from a university, the biggest pressure is that we doing things correctly. We must do things correctly, and we must deliver the performance, right? That is our biggest pressure when we come out, and when we are young in the early 20s, when we are energetic, the bosses, the client, the stakeholder will expect us to deliver and perform. I think that is the biggest pressure when we are young, right? But nowadays, my biggest pressures, my biggest problem nowadays is I don't think that is all about performance, right? Um, if performance get bad, I always have my way of getting through around that. It's not about that. It's always about dealing with people. Um, and how do you get things move, right? Um, our biggest problem is about all the blockers, all the constraint, all the challenges that come to us, a lot of assumptions, a lot of dependencies, right? I call it my ABCD. That is actually things that is blocking us, and for us is that how we can actually go and get it resolved, right? Um, for the past 4 years, 5 years, I was all about in the new industry in constructions, and I need to learn a lot of new term, new technology, new way of doing things, especially in the construction, in order for me to resolve all these constraint and blockers. So yeah, so when we are young, we just need to get it perform, get it do the things, and so on and so forth. But when we get older, it's all about the constraint that come to us that we need to do. But recently, I also talked to senior people. Okay, when I say senior people, they are people who are already retired. They told me, David, whatever that you are stressed right now is for me is nothing. No, all this blocker, eventually time will get it resolved, right? So then I asked them, okay, sir, when you before you retire, what are actually make you sleepless at night? Then they say that it's all about strategy. When there are things that not sure how to go there, you have to sleep and think about the strategy. How do you move forward from there? Something that you totally cannot see in front of you. You don't even know what is the constraint, what is the blocker, anything. You just need to think about the strategy, reach there. That is the headache of the leader. So I think, Shanila, I think you and me will be moving to that directions.
Quietly,
So
we usually talk about the strategy every day in every call.
yeah, correct. So I think depend on what year that we are here, that is where that we are going to it. Yeah, that is where I learn, and then I get prepare myself and move forward from there.
Sounds good. So, Coach, looking back to your own career, was there ever a time when things didn't go according to the plan? Perhaps a disappointment or a difficult project or even a career setback, right? Setback, if I would say that, and that ultimately became one of the greatest learning experience for you.
That definitely there is a lot of time that I a lot of thing that is not going on my ways. in my young until now, there are a lot of things in not just in the project, but it's also in my personal life. Um, thing that I thought I planned, I can move it, have a better life with my family, with my children. I thought that they will be fine, but sometimes there it will be something that they're disrupting. For the project, I thought that I built a nice, good team, but again, things can be go haywire in the team, or it can be impacted by external factors and so on and so forth. There are a lot of things to do that. But for me, I always practice this, right? Things that I call it EQ, emotion intelligence. I always want to know that what can I control and what I can control, right? And I always practice that. I wouldn't say that I'm a good EQ practitioner. I'm still sometimes can get angry and so on and so forth. But it's always about continue practicing uh the EQ. Things that will not go into your right direction in your direction, you always, for me, it's always go in and check what is things that I can control. I can do it. Or things that if I cannot control, at least I can get people to help me, right? So there are the things that, or things that I totally cannot control or no one can control, then these are the things that I probably will just move it away, right? But this is what I've been doing throughout the year, even in the projects. When we are doing things, I thought that I have a good team to support me. Then suddenly, my team members was ill and then passed away. I have to get new members to join in, or even I need to promote a junior to take over. The work is not as good as my past team members, and I personally need to go and help. And sometimes I'm not the knowledge, subject matter expert. I will try my best to go and help it. I need to secure, so a lot of things that as it does happen. And as when we grow old, we always have the so-called the lesson in behind our brain. We want to make sure that always have a backup. You have must have contingency plan. You must have this. You must have that. Yeah, lesson learned is always the best tools, best asset that as a project managers we will have, right? So this is the thing. But again, I think that the biggest lesson is which I continue to to practice or to improve is my emotional intelligence. And I always go and learn what things that I can control, and then what I can doing to improve it so that it can actually make the whole project getting better, or at least my life getting better.
Thank you for sharing it, coach, because I always appreciate hearing stories like this because they remind us that successful careers are rarely linear, actually. Behind every experienced
Mm-hmm.
professional, there are moments of uncertainty, moments of disappointments, moments of self-doubt, right? The difference is not that
Yeah,
successful people never experience those challenges, but I think the difference is that they continue moving forward, right? So I think,
yeah,
and if I could pause here for a moment, I think, and everyone who is watching us, I would simply say this: if you are early in your career, don't measure your progress against someone else 20 years of experience. Measure it against
yeah,
who you were 6 months ago. Celebrate your growth. Stay curious, keep learning, and remember every experienced professional was once exactly where you are today, right? So never compare with that experience, right? It will come with time. So, David, I would say before we conclude, Coach, I would love to finish with something we called, rapid reflection. I'll ask a few short questions, and I would love your first instinctive answers on them. So, are you
yeah,
ready?
yeah.
Okay. So, professional success in one word.
Process success in one word: perseverance. Sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
perseverance.
Perseverance. Okay. One habit every project professional should develop.
Bonding.
Okay. One book or one person who significantly influenced your leadership journey.
A person. Yeah.
Okay. And complete this sentence. Project success begins when?
Process success begin
Yeah. Complete this sentence. When?
when you discover yourself.
Okay. Thank you, coach. This was, a wonderful reflection. And I think every one of those answers, deserves a conversation of its own, I believe.
Yeah.
So as we come to the end of today's conversation, I would like to take a moment to reflect on some of the themes we explored together. We began by talking about no certification, and I think one thing became very clear. Professional certifications matter. They demonstrate commitment. They provide structure. They build confidence. They give us a common language as professionals. But we also learned that certification is only the beginning. Real projects ask us to do something much more challenging. They ask us to build trust, to communicate effectively, to make decisions with incomplete informations, and to lead through uncertainties, and to remain curious and to continue learning. And perhaps I think most importantly, to create value for the people we serve. Because I think coach also reminded us that careers aren't built overnight. They are built one conversations, one project, one relationship, one lesson at a time. And that's the thing, we can resilience in us. So thank you so much, coach. I think on behalf of everyone watching around the world, thank you for sharing not only your knowledge but also your experience, your honesty and your reflections. And I know that our audience will take away valuable lessons that extend far beyond project management. And it has truly been a pleasure having you on Conversation with Shenila.
Thanks for having me, Shanina.
And to everyone who joined us today, thank you for being part of another episode of Conversation with Shanila. If today's discussion resonates with you, I would encourage you to continue the conversation. Share your biggest takeaway in the comments, what lesson stayed with you. I know what part of coach journey spoke to your own actually. So because some of the best learnings doesn't happen during the conversation, it happens afterwards. And when we reflect, when we exchange ideas, when we continue learning from one another, it always happens that we go back to our own reflections, right? And cherish our memories and the lessons from it. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future episodes and the conversations with the project leaders, authors, industry experts, and professionals from around the world. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep leading, and remember the true measure of success is not simply what we know, it's the positive impact we create through the knowledge we choose to share and the people we choose to serve. I am Shenila. Thank you for joining us on Conversation with Shenila. Take care, and I'll see you in our next conversation. Bye and take care.
Bye bye. Thank you.